Hi there everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. My name is Rebecca, and if this is your first time visiting, then just take a moment now to subscribe to the channel so that you can keep up to date with all of my tutorials, and click that little bell icon as well so that you get a notification each time something new gets uploaded. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this absolutely beautiful hexagon. So I'm just going to give you a little moment to look at it. So it obviously can be worked in a solid colour or changing your colour each round. It is totally up to you. Because of the yarn that I'm using, I just like to work them up in a solid like this, and then obviously I'll be ready to join with the next one. So we will do all of the rounds together, and hopefully you'll be able to create something that looks like this. So for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going to be using the Beautiful Ice Yarns Picasso, and this is the rainbow shade, and I will leave all of the links and everything for this yarn in the description. So for this particular yarn, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook, but you can just use whatever size your yarn recommends. So we want to start with a chain of 5, so yarn over, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're then going to slip stitch into the first chain to create a circle. So insert your hook and slip stitch, so yarn over and pull through both loops, and that will give you a centre ring. Going to chain 1, and then we're going to work on our first round of puff stitches. So to do our puff stitches, we're going to want 6 puff stitches in total in this first round. So you want to yarn over, insert into that centre ring, yarn over and pull up nice and tall, yarn over, insert back into that centre ring, yarn over and pull up, again pull up nice and tall, and then one more time, yarn over, back into that space, yarn over and pull up, and at this point you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops, and then you'll yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain 1, and then we're going to move on to our next puff stitch. So again, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up, and again pull up nice and tall, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up again, and one more time. So you'll do that 3 times, the yarn over and the pulling up. Again, yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain 1, and that's your second puff stitch. So I'll show you one more time and then you can continue with the round. Yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up tall, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up tall, and one final time, yarn over and pull up, and again yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain 1. So you want to do that 3 more times because we want a total of 6 puff stitches. So I will meet you as you complete your final puff stitch of this round. I've just completed my final puff stitch. I'm going to do my chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch to close. Now when it comes to these, I personally don't want to slip stitch into the top of the first puff stitch. I'm actually going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space after that first puff stitch. So check that you've got your 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to slip stitch to the chain 1 after this first puff stitch. So yarn over and slip stitch. Okay, so that is how you should be looking after round 1. The next round we're going to be doing this next round of puff stitches. So we're going to chain 1. That's not going to count as any part of our stitch, it's just to bring us up from the space. So into every chain one space now we're going to put 2 puff stitches separated by the chain one. So yarn over into that first chain one space where you've just come up from, you'll do a puff stitch in exactly the same way that you've been doing all of the others. Yarn over, pull through all of those loops, chain one, and then into that same space that you were just working into, you'll do another puff stitch. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through all those loops, chain one. You're now going to skip across to your next chain one space, so you'll skip your next puff stitch, and into this chain one space you'll put 2 puff stitches separated by the chain one. Chain one, and then in that same chain one space another puff stitch. Yarn over, pull through all those loops, chain one, and then move to your next chain one space. So if you continue that now all the way around, you will have 12 puff stitches by the end of this round. So I've got my 12 puff stitches, I've done my final chain one, and again I'm ready to close off. And in the same way as we did at the end of the last round, I'm going to close to the chain one space after that first puff stitch. Okay, so that's your first 2 rounds completed. We're now going to move on to our cluster stitch round. I'm going to chain 2, and then into this chain one space I'm going to start my cluster stitch. I'm going to yarn over into that first chain one space, yarn over and pull up. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, back into that space, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, back into that space, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and we've now got 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Going to chain 2. Now that very first one is different to all of the others because that chain 2 is counting as our first treble. So I'm using UK terms here, so just remember that will be your counting as your double in the US and other parts. So into your next chain one space you're going to do a normal cluster stitch this time. So yarn over into your next chain one space, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and one final time, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and you'll have 5 loops. Yarn over, pull through all of those loops and chain 2. So we do that with you one more time. So into your next chain one space, yarn over and insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, and again yarn over, pull through 2, and one final time, yarn over, pull through 2, and each time you should have 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all of those, and chain 2. So if you want to complete that into every chain one space, so 1 cluster stitch into every chain one space all the way around, and at the end you should have 12 clusters. Okie dokie, so I'm ready now to close off. I've done my final cluster stitch and my chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch to close after that first cluster. So we're going to chain 2, that is going to count as our first treble, but remember that is double in the US, and then into this chain 1 space we're going to put 2 treble crochets, so double again in the US. So yarn over, insert into the space, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now obviously if you're changing colour or something for this where we put on our little hexagon, then you'll just start with a chain 2, or you can do a standing treble. It's totally up to you. And one final treble into that chain 1 space. Into the next chain 1 space we want to create a corner, so we're going to do 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 2, which is going to give us a corner, and then back in the same chain 1 space you're going to do 3 more trebles, 1, 2, and 3. Next chain 1 space you want a cluster of 3 trebles, which is going to be one of our straight sides, 2 and 3. Again, into the next chain 1 space we want a corner, so it's 3 trebles, chain 2, and then 3 trebles back in that same chain 1 space. Okay, another straight side now, so we want 3 trebles in the next chain 1 space, and then again the next space will be a corner, so you'll have a corner stitch which will be your 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles, your next chain 1 space will be 3 trebles, corner space, 3 trebles, corner, and so on. So if you want to continue that all the way around now, and I will meet you as you get to the end of the round. So your final chain 1 space you should be finishing with a corner. Chain 2 and then my final trebles. So I'm going to slip stitch to close to the top of that chain 2 that we did at the beginning of the round. So that is how we're looking now. You can see that by doing that it is flattened out that middle part. Now you can finish here. Let me just pull that up for a second. You obviously can finish here just as they are, but I personally like to put on a round of UK double crochet just to finish them off a little bit more, but this round is totally optional. You can just start joining straight away. So into that first stitch I'm going to yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through both, and that is my first UK double. In the US this is your single. And I'm just going to put 1 UK double into the top of every single stitch from the last round. And in the corner chain 2 space I'm going to put double, chain 1, double, all in that same space. And then again 1 double crochet into the top of each stitch along until we get to the corner space again, and in that chain 2 corner space you will put a double, chain 1, double. I just feel like it finishes it off just that little bit more, so if you want to continue that all the way around, and then we will finish off. I'm now going to close off into that first stitch that we did with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then you snip off and pull out that tail. So that is how you should look at the end of the video. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, do remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, but I will see you for another video really soon. Bye for now.